Sai Ram, dear listeners, greetings from Sai Glory. Today, 24th of April, is a sacred day. Today is Swami's Mahasamadhi Day, celebrated as the Aradhana Mahotsavam. Today is the day Bhagavan left his physical form to take up his cosmic form. Today is the day when millions of devotees from around the world felt lost, not knowing what to do and how to live without Swami. Yet, here we are, 9 years after Swami's Mahasamadhi, holding on to him with whatever little faith we have in Swami. Today is the day when Swami reassured millions of his devotees through signs and messages that Swami has not gone anywhere. He is very much with us, with each and every one of us, for we are his divine children. Take a look back at these 9 years and you are sure to spot moments when Swami has revealed himself to you. Moments when Swami has communicated to you through a sign or a gesture or a smell of fragrance. Moments when he has reassured you that he is with you through a photograph. Moments when Swami has been your only strength. Moments when Swami has been your helping hand when no one was there for you. Moments when Swami has given his shoulder for you to cry. And moments when Swami has given you the loving company to share your joyful moments. You will realize that Swami is indeed very much a part of our life and he is living our lives with us. Swami always says, I am always with you, in you, above you, around you, below you. But often we forget that he is in all of us. He is in you. So today is not a day of mourning. It's a day to celebrate Swami's life and his teaching. To awaken the Sai in you and to all those who still feel lost without Sai, we have a very special message for you. Sai Glory brings to you yet another episode of Sis.Anuradha Venkateswaran as our Aradhana special episode. In this episode, Sister Anuradha shares with us her life experiences post Mahasamadhi. So let's immerse ourselves in his divinity and awaken the Spirit of Sai in all of us.
Offering my prayerful pranams at Bhagwan's lotus feet once again. Today is a very sacred day. This session is being recorded on the auspicious Good Friday in April 2020. And I think it's no coincidence that this episode will be aired on Mahasamadhi Day, April 24th of this year. And as we all know, Swami's Mahasamadhi Day, which is celebrated as Aradhana Day, it's a sacred day when we celebrate Swami's life and legacy. It is not a day of mourning. It is a day when we celebrate Swami's life and his presence, his continued presence in our life. So in this episode, I would like to focus on a few experiences, starting with the day of Swami's Mahasamadhi and following Mahasamadhi. So let's call this post-Mahasamadhi, if you would. When Swami left his physical form, it was Sunday morning, April 24, 2011. In America, we are about a half a day behind, so it was Saturday night, my time, when the world got the news about Swami's passing. That morning, Saturday, I was helping out a friend who was hosting Chandi Homam here in Atlanta at the Hindu temple. And there was a lot of work involved. First of all, it was a long drive. It's over an hour's drive to the temple. And there was a lot of arrangements that needed to be made. And I was helping out with that. And I was physically very drained and very tired that evening. So I went to bed much earlier than usual. So I couldn't answer the phone when relatives were trying to contact me. In fact, my mother was trying to reach me to see how I was holding up after hearing the message. But somehow Swami allowed me to sleep that night because he knew for the next several nights I wouldn't be able to sleep well. That's the loving mother that he is. Even that tiny detail he pays attention to. In fact, I even remember I picked up the phone and my mother was saying something. I was so tired. I said, Amma, I'm tired. I can't talk to you now. My mother was living in India at that time. Now she stays with us. So I told her, Amma, maybe tomorrow, I can't talk now. I'm very tired, and I just went back to sleep. So when I woke up on Sunday morning, it was through a call from a friend, who's a family friend, who's not a devotee of Bhagwan, but who has a lot of respect for Swami. And he knew that I loved Swami dearly. He called to express his condolences, and that was very shocking to me. Though Swami had prepared us for the inevitable, he gave us time to accept it, but still we didn't want to hear that. I don't think any devotee was ready to hear that. So I was shocked naturally. I, of course, went into Radio Sai to find out if it's true, because there were a lot of rumors spreading at the time too. And I did get the confirmed news that Swami had indeed left his physical form. So I came upstairs to the puja room. I looked at all the memorabilia that Swami had gifted, the saris, the handkerchiefs that he had blessed. And I was sitting there in shock. I was, of course, crying, looking at Swami's picture, thinking, Swami, now I'm lost. I don't have you to come running to. Who's going to answer my prayers, and how will I feel this presence now that you're no more here in your physical form? A few minutes passed, and my husband woke up, and he came and found me in the room crying, and he asked what's going on. And when I expressed to him what had happened, he too was sad, and together we prayed for a little bit. But being the practical man that he is, he said, life must go on, Anu. Swami would want us to carry on, remembering him. But today the children have a Tamil exam and they cannot skip the classes. So he said, why don't you stay home and deal with this in your own way? I'll take the children to classes. But for some reason, I didn't want to be left alone. I didn't want to grieve alone. I told him, why don't you take me with you and we'll go to the Shirdi Baba temple, which is just 3-4 miles from my house. There's a beautiful temple here for Baba with a beautiful white statue. I said, why don't you take me to the temple? So he said, sure, we can do that. We dropped the children. We didn't tell the children anything because we didn't want it to affect their exams. The children were also very fond of Swami. They were much younger then. So we dropped the children at class, and my husband took me to the Baba temple. Now my phone was ringing off the hook. Our loved ones are near and dear. They are trying to check up on each other to see how we are holding up, how we are dealing with it, and to, give consoling words. So since I was in no shape at the time, I was distraught, emotionally very distraught. My poor husband was answering my phone calls and he was responding to messages. And I clearly remember this one message from our SSC coordinator at the center here in the Atlanta Sai Center. He had sent a message making sure that, I'd still be able to cover that class that evening. And I said, I'm in no shape right now. I'm sorry. Can you please find a substitute to teach that class? While I had a little bit of guilt for not doing my duty, I felt that I was in no shape to present myself in front of the kids. So here I was sitting in the Baba temple. It was empty. On a Sunday morning, can you believe it? It was empty. That is the time that everybody throngs to the temples. But there was nobody at the temple but me and the priest who was sitting in one corner reading. In fact, just that Thursday, I had gone to the same temple and I had done an archana, giving Swami's name, his gotram, his star, and everything. So that priest did know that I was very fond of Swami, and he too was a Sai devotee. He understood the sentiment and he gave me my space to grieve. I still remember where I was sitting in the temple. It was right in front of Swami's padukas, Baba's padukas. And I sat and I cried my heart out to Swami. And I was crying, saying, Swami, well, who will I turn to now? You have left me and gone. I was like a lost puppy and I was crying. I think after some time, when you've cried and you have exhausted all your tears and there's the stillness, I was just sitting there with my eyes closed. And even now when I'm sitting here in my puja room, I can go back and relive that moment. I felt the brush of Swami's robe on my lap. And I could smell Swami, that distinct smell, fragrance of Swami. And Swami is talking to me like he would to a 6-year-old child who was sad that it lost his puppy. And Swami says, why are you crying? Don't cry. I have not gone anywhere. I'm right here with you. And this is not a message that Swami gave to Anu. In the grand scheme of things, I'm very insignificant, sitting and living my own life in one corner of the world. But many devotees had this experience that day where Swami came and reassured them that he has not gone anywhere. And the reason I'm beginning this episode with this experience, we have to believe that he has not gone anywhere. Whether he has conveyed that to us one-on-one or not, whether he's given us those personal experiences or not, he is with us at all times. When he says, Nenta, Venta, Jenta, Kanta, Nene Puduntanu, we have to believe it. Swami Mata, Satya Mata, Sai Mata, every word that the Sai Mata utters is the truth and nothing but the truth. We have to have that faith. Within moments, my reaction changed completely. My husband, when he came back in the temple to find me, here I was ready to go back and teach SSC that afternoon. He said, what happened? I told him, I cannot explain it, but it's like Swami just turned off a faucet and the tears just stopped, and I suddenly feel like I have a duty to perform. And teaching SSC is a duty that we sign up to as a teacher. So I actually messaged the SSC coordinator back and said, I'm ready to teach the class. Not only did I teach the class, on that day we only talked about experiences. All the times where Swami had made fun of me to teach me a lesson, and the whole atmosphere was different. And I think only Swami can do this. There is a beautiful, these are Swami's own words. He says, Kanniru tappinchu, kanniru teppinchu, chinmaya murtiyo chinni baba. He says, it's the same Lord who gives you tears of sorrow and of bliss. So from tears of sorrow became tears of bliss, and I was ready to do his work. So this again is an experience I want to leave you all with, something to think about. We may go through life, we may go through these ups and downs in life, but the aim, we have to keep focused on Swami and be centered on Swami. And there are several other experiences that happen post Mahasamadhi, that a few of which I would like to share with everybody here. But there is a deeper significance with the whole Samadhi experience. Now most Hindus, we celebrate Ganesh Chaturthi. And in some families, there's this tradition of actually building a clay idol of Ganapati and decorating it. I remember doing this as a child, where you mold, you make this beautiful clay idol. You don't bake it, but you make the idol. You insert eyes, you use props, you put an umbrella, you do all of these things. You paint it, you decorate it. You worship this idol, you do puja to this idol for a certain number of days. And then we do a visarjan. We take the same idol that we've been worshipping to go and put it in the water, in a water body. There's an underlying message. First we start worshipping the form, we connect to the form, but eventually we should get to connecting with the formless. Swami is beyond this form. We cannot restrict him to this 5 foot, 3-inch body. I must not do that. An experience that I'd like to recount here, this happened just a few years ago. There's a senior of mine from the Anantapur campus who lives in New Jersey. Her name is Prashanti Akka. Prashanti Akka and I are still very much in touch to this day. So we were involved in a cultural program at one of the Sai centers in New York. And I'm part of this alumni group in North America where we travel to different parts of the country. Swami has given us an opportunity almost every year since his Mahasamadhi, where we have talks on Swami, we do special musical offerings. So Prashanti Akka and I were involved in a musical offering at this particular center in Flushing. So she's very good with, doing slides and Photoshop work, and she's very good with this. So she was preparing the slides and she asked me to take a look and see if, everything looked okay. Can you see it's in the right order of our songs? We always try to have a nice visual element to go with the songs, and we do that in a lot of centers too, I know. So when she messaged me, I said, Akka, we are in the middle of a, power cut now. I'm trying to conserve battery in my phone. And obviously I don't have internet, so maybe can I check it in the morning? She said, oh, that's fine. You can check it in the morning and let me know. This was about past 11 in the night, and everybody in the family had gone to bed. And I happened to be awake, and I still remember I was sitting in my living room in a particular area on the couch when I texted her back. And she said to me, Anu, when I was back, this is Prashanti Akka sharing the story. She said when she was back in Anantapur hostel, there was a girl in the college who believed that the Trayambakam mantram was an electricity prayer. We chant, it's part of Sri Rudram. Om Trayambakam yajamahe sugandhim pushtivardhanam urvarukameva bandhanan mrityor mukshiyam amritat. She believed that this was an electricity prayer. Some of you are chuckling. That was my immediate reaction when Akka told me this. So in the hostel, we had a tradition that if the power goes out in the night, it was a girls' hostel, It was all girls, so naturally everybody would be worried. There's no power. What if there are any critters? What if somebody comes in? So we would all step outside our rooms. It was a beautiful rectangular building with multiple floors. And we would step out of our room and we would all chant the Trayambakam mantra, and power would eventually come back. So she, with all sincerity, thought, when you chant the Trayambakam mantram, electricity would come back. So when she went back to her hometown and power would go, she would tell the neighbors, her family members to chant the Trayambakam mantra. And at some point, power does come back, right? So when this Akka shared this story, I just chuckled. And she told me, Anu, whether you believe it or not, you should chant the prayer. I said, sure, Akka, and got off the phone. So there I was sitting in my couch, and I was thinking, oh really? Trayambakam mantra and electricity prayer? So I just put my head down. I wasn't even saying it out loud. I just mumbled it, the entire mantra. No sooner did I finish mumbling it, there was this loud noise and the power came back on. The microwave turns on, the oven turns on, all the clocks are beeping. And I thought, wow, that's a very strange coincidence. And I messaged Akka promptly back saying, Akka, can you believe it? I'll be honest, I can't say I chanted with the utmost devotion that Swami, you have to give. There was no crisis. We didn't have to have power back the very next minute. But even that thought, that saying the prayer, the power came back. So when I shared this with Akka, she of course felt very uplifted. She said she needed to hear that message. But you know how Swami leaves his signature? If you think it was a coincidence, there are a lot of times we think, oh, it was meant to happen. And Swami reminds you, no, this is a Sai incident. Exactly 12 hours later, the same Akka messages me and she says, Anu, I did some digging. I asked around in some of my other groups, WhatsApp groups. Guess what is the name of this girl, who thought the Trayambakam mantra was the electricity prayer? And I said, no idea, Akka. She says her name was Anuradha. That is my name. I go by Anu, but my full name is Anuradha. What are the chances that a person by name Anuradha had that experience, and here I was going through that same experience many years later. The stars aligned. Swami wanted to make sure that he was conveying this message, right? This was many years post Mahasamadhi, and Swami was still responding just to a casual conversation between two friends. 2 years ago, actually 3 years, 2017 was my last trip to India from the USA. And this trip I went by myself to India. I had a wish list of some temples I wanted to visit, and of course Prashanthi Nilayam is on top of that list. I also meant to go to Shirdi. It didn't materialize on that trip, hopefully the next trip. So I spent a few days in Prashanthi, and during that trip I also did the Girivalam of Tiruvannamalai. I wanted to do that. It was in my wish list. My sister-in-law and I did the Girivalam one early morning. So it was a very eventful trip. So on my flight back home, I have this habit of chanting Gayatris whenever a flight takes off. So I put my head down and I was praying to Swami, and I said, Swami, thank you for an eventful trip. I know you've been with me, guiding me. This trip would not have happened the way it did without your guidance. I just thought of Swami and put my head down, and I chanted my 3 Gayatris, Om Shanti Shanti, and I opened my eyes. Right there to the aisle, I was in the aisle seating, and to the other side, the lady sitting in the aisle in the row in front of me, she's reading a book, and I see this picture of Swami. I actually took a picture of that. I have it on my phone. It's a picture of Swami giving away Hasta. There's a black and white picture of Swami. And I thought, what are the chances there's somebody in the flight who's particularly turning to that page when I'm finishing my Gayatris for them to give this reassurance from Swami. So these are the way that even post Mahasamadhi, Swami continues to reassure us that he's always with us. Now with the avatar, it's cryptic. It will never be spelt out exactly. We have to dig deep. We have to look within and search, and then we will find our answers. One question I'm asked in my travels to different Sai centers and regions, where, talks on Swami, is now that Swami is not here in physical form, how do we connect with him? Or for that matter, connect with God, connect with Rama or Krishna or Devi. How do we connect with God? And we each have our own unique way, right? Some of us connect with God as a mother, some as a father. For some, he's just an intimate friend to whom you can share anything, confide all of your secrets. And for some, he's a relative, a dear one. And for many of us, he's all of these rolled into one. And this is my thinking. We all form our own personal connection with God in our own way. It's our private relationship with Swami or with our favorite deity. One way that I connect when I, for example, sing a bhajan is if I'm singing Sai Hai Jivan, Jivan Satya Sai, I would sing, Swami, you're my life. You are everything to me. You make it your own story. If you're a Krishna devotee and you're singing something like Krishna, oh Krishna, mujhe darshan do Krishna. You go into that story, you become that Meera. You become that Meera who's pining for Krishna. And you act out that role. Swami says, pretend. Pretend you tend to do and you end up doing. You may have not had this experience as a Sai student. You may have had only a few darshans of Swami, or you may have never had Swami's physical darshan. But he is still communicating to people through a picture, through somebody who has never heard about Sai Baba. And he communicates, he finds a way to communicate with them. When the yearning is there, he will find a way. As it is said, when the student is ready, the master appears. We just keep making an effort, and with pining, with sincere effort, he will connect with us in the way that he thinks is right. There is no one tried and tested method that we can hand out. The experiment has been done now, everybody do this and Swami will appear. For one, it may be through the path of bhakti. It might be with regular, incessant chanting. By writing Nama Likhita Japam, Swami may communicate with somebody. So find that source. It could be through a Satcharita, it could be through the Tapovanam, it could be through a Sahasranam, it could be through a passage from the Bible or a casual conversation with a devotee who practices Islam. Just keep our antennas open and be tuned. Swami says, for Baba, he gave this explanation to Sister Geeta Ram, who I'm sure many of you have had the good fortune of hearing. He said, be aware, be alert. We have to always have our antennas tuned and always ready to receive these messages. On this Aradhana day, 9 years after Swami took Mahasamadhi, why don't we all challenge ourselves and see how I can make my personal connection with God? What are some sadhanas I can do to make this connection happen? And how can I be alert? Pay attention, be more aware of all our decisions, all our reading when we sit down to pray, when we go out to serve in the community, when we read that next Vahini. Why don't we challenge ourselves to be tuned? And the challenge could be in your own different way. So many suggestions were given. Take it up as a challenge and make it happen. I think when the effort is there, Swami will make it happen. In the Shirdi Sai Satcharita, we read that Baba says, my tomb will speak to you. I will communicate with you from the tomb. And it is no different with Swami's Mahasamadhi. We go there to recharge ourselves and he still communicates and he heals us through that. We must not take Swami's words lightly. When he says, Ni inta venta genta neeneppudu untanu, he's with us, behind us, in front of us, to our side. But we must not forget he's also within us. We are created in his reflection. He's always with us and he's still very much available to us. We just need to be tuned and pay attention to these signs. And I truly believe that very dearly. And I'm very thankful to Swami that he gave me this opportunity to communicate and share my thoughts with you on this auspicious Mahasamadhi Day. Jai Sai Ram.